As you know, we are grading 5 centimetres per size, and I'm going to show you the master grade method for our basic skirt block. No, not yet. So we start by putting our X and Y axis on our skirt, going through the hip line and the centre front or centre back. And then on each point that needs to be graded, we are going to draw an X and Y axis also. So each point will have an X and Y axis so that we can grade them all separately. And then it's a matter of joining the dots to have our next size. So make sure you have your 0 point also on each axis. So I'm going to start with our waist centre front. That point I've also put on the X and Y coordinates for each grade point. So the centre front waist needs to grade -0.6 and 0. So -0.6 on the X axis. So from the 0 point, I'm just going to move my little grid 6 mils and put a little dot there for the next size. You can do more than one size at a time if you want to, but I'm just going to do the one size to start with. And then my dart is moving -0.6 and 0.3 on the y-axis. So from the 0 point, I move in the x direction 0.6 and then up 3 mils on the y-axis, making sure that the grid is in line with the axis that you've drawn on each point. And again, just put a little dot there for the new notch point. And you do the same coordinate for each dart point. So another notch for the second notch, and then the drill hole also has to be -0.6 and 3. The second dart needs to move -0.6 and 0.6. So again, start off at your 0 point, 6 mils in a negative x direction and 6 mils in a positive y direction. And again, just a little dot to mark the new point. And then the same with the other notch, the second notch, and also the drill hole. So each little square on this grid represents 3 mils. Our side seam waist is -0.6 and 1.25. So from the 0 point, I move my grid -0.6 in the x direction, and the y is 1.25, so that's 3, 6, 9, 12, and then a tiny little amount for ½ mil. And mark in my 1.25. On my hip line, I'm just moving it up 1.25, so 0 for x movement. So that's 3, 6, 9, 12, and a tiny bit more, which is ½ mil more for the 0.05. And mark it with another dot. And then down to the hem. The hem is going to grade 0.3 in the x direction and 1.25 in the y. So 3 mils for x, and then 3, 6, 9, 12, and a tiny bit more for ½ mil. And again, just mark a little dot. And with straight lines, and then centre front hem, with straight lines you can just use a ruler to join all the dots. So the centre front hem is just 3 mils. And then I can use my ruler to draw in my new size. So joining up the dots. And when you have to draw in the curve, the hip curve, you will need to use the block. And again, it's just joining up the dots. You need to have the same curve that was on the original block. You will need to move the block over a little bit as you do each section. The dart value will still be the same for each size. It's only the distance between the darts that's going to get bigger, and between the side seam. And there we have our new size, size 12.